What is everybody? Daniel Rogers here, back again in video. 2006 year in review continues with WWE's Judgment Day. Let's start it all off. Paul London and Brian Kendrick, Lundrick, as I like to call him. That was easier way to put it, I guess. Lundrick defeats Eminem. That's Nitro, Melina, and Mercury to capture the SmackDown Tag Team Championships in a fine opening match. 6 out of 10. Lundrick gets the pinfall over Joey Mercury, and then Nitro and Melina beat the crap out of Mercury because this is a way to write Mercury off, and so that way he can check into rehab to, try to overcome his drug addiction that he was going on at this point. And now it's just Nitro and Melina, and believe me, you will see quite a lot of Melina throughout this entire show. Lundrick gets the W and the SmackDown Tag Titles in a fun opening match. 6 out of 10. Next up, we get a really fucking cool match between Chris Benoit and Finlay. This was just... when you think of Benoit and Finlay, what kind of match do you think these two are going to have? You're not going to get flips. You're not going to get kicks. You're not going to loop-de-loops. You're not going to get high spots. You're going to get down and gritty, rough and tough, smash mouth style of a match from two all-star competitors. And they will definitely make a believer out of you guys. You like how I just punned the hell out of two Smash Mouth songs there? Anyways, yes, this was down and dirty, gritty as hell can be. Just a nasty match to watch. Everything they did looked like it hurt. They just went out there and beat the piss out of each other. And I like that. I like it when two guys go in there and beat the ever-living fuck out of each other. This was a technical classic match. This isn't the match for everybody. It's a very slow, very methodical, maybe boring at some points, but everything they did looked like it hurt. Everything had a purpose. The way Finlay would just pin Benoit by hooking his arm or putting his knee over his face. Everything, the locks that they would do. I love matches like this, where you can just sit there and you just observe the kind of submissions that they were doing. This was just a good match. 8 out of 10. Very good match. Very good match from two all-star competitors. And it's definitely the best match on this show. That will definitely make a believer out of you guys. Anyways, Benoit gets the W over Finlay. And there's nothing more to say about that. Very hard-hitting match. Then we get a technical classic to match that is just whatever. Jillian Hall defeats Melina in a 2 out of 10. After this match, Melina and Nitro, they go to the back. They see Teddy Long, and they're pretty pissed off at Teddy Long because what went down with Jillian Hall and what went down with the SmackDown tag title scene. And Melina smacks the ever-living piss out of Teddy Long, and then Teddy Long fires her ass, and then he fires Nitro, and now they go to Raw, obviously. They obviously go to Raw. So, Melina and Nitro are written off of SmackDown. Actually, Eminem are just completely gone from SmackDown. In one show, we see the breakup of Eminem, and then we see Nitro and Melina completely get axed from the SmackDown brand entirely. So, in one night, Eminem is completely gone from SmackDown. Pretty huge entirely. But they won't be the only ones that will no longer compete on the SmackDown brand. Next up, Gregory Helms defeats Super Crazy to retain his Cruiserweight Championship in a pretty disappointing Cruiserweight title match. But still, miles better than the shit we're getting today. 5 out of 10. I say this every review when they're the Cruiserweights when they're doing the Cruiserweights. You have WCW Cruiserweight shit. You have the TNA X Division step below that. And then right about that is the SmackDown Cruiserweight Division. And then way at the bottom you have today's Raw Cruiserweight division and the WWF Light Heavyweight division. So, but anyways, this match was not really anything special, pretty forgettable. But Gregory Helms was a pretty good Cruiserweight champion. He held the belt for a very long time. In fact, him and the team of Paul London and Brian Kendrick, both of these guys, both the tag team of Lundrick and Gregory Helms, they would hold their titles, their respective titles, for about a year. And that's pretty incredible at this point in time when you have so many guys be champions for so short amount of time. Anyways, 5 out of 10. Mark Henry defeats Kurt Angle via countout in a very boring match. It was slightly better than their match at Royal Rumble, but my God, that countout victory over Kurt Angle just rubs me the wrong way. Every time there's a countout or a disqualification happening, I automatically give it a full point less. I give it a 4. Not much to say about it. Mark Henry and Kurt Angle kind of put me to sleep, honestly. And at this point, I was almost checked out of this show. But then Booker T and Bobby Lashley kind of reeled me back in their King of the Ring finals. This was a fine match. Bobby Lashley was still pretty damn green at this point, but Booker T held his own and really made Lashley a very big star in this match. Booker T gets the victory and becomes King Booker. And this is where King Booker, this is where Booker T really, he finally, after being with the company for 5 fucking years at this point, from being completely bitched out in the Invasion, being bitched out by The Rock. He couldn't even beat The Rock in a fucking handicap match. To being Triple H's bitch. To, having gold with Gold Dust. The only highlight of his entire career in the WWE at this point was his shit with Gold Dust. To being bitched out by The Undertaker in 2004 at whatever pay-per-view it was. I think it was No Mercy or maybe it was Survivor Series. There was a pay-per-view where Undertaker completely made Booker T look like a bitch. I don't remember what show it was. It was one of those shows. It was either Armageddon or No Mercy or Survivor Series. It was something like that. So after being bitched out by The Rock and Triple H and The Undertaker and so on and so forth, we finally get to this. And this is where Booker T finally becomes a legitimate main event superstar. And King Booker was such a marvelous character. Fantastic stuff. I wasn't watching SmackDown at this point, but seeing King Booker in the coming months of 2006 made me wish that I watched 2006 SmackDown, as they were debatably the better show. I don't know which show at this point was actually better. You had the McMahon-ism bullshit going on and the return of D-Generation X, but then on the SmackDown side of things, you had the Eddie Guerrero story being played out. So I don't know, but King Booker, going on pretty crazy shit. Booker T defeats Bobby Lashley and becomes King Booker. He wins the King of the Ring finals. And there you go. 6 out of 10. Very cool shit. And then we get Great Khali defeating The Undertaker and made him look like a bitch in about, 5 minutes. Undertaker got almost no offense. And Great Khali got about 5 overhead chops on The Undertaker and then pins him. But don't just pin him. He pins him with his foot. Great Khali beats The Undertaker without taking a bump. This was insane. This was shocking. If I was watching SmackDown at the time, I probably would have cried if I saw this at the time. But this was just bad. But great. But, I will give them credit. At least they actually have The Undertaker put over a monster in the Great Khali. Honestly, Undertaker, after his awesome match with Kurt Angle in 2006, started having some really shitty matches. He had an awful feud with Mark Henry, and then he had an awful feud with the Great Khali. It started being reminiscent of, his $1 million corporation feud that he had like 11 years prior, where he would face guys like King Kong Bundy and Kama and even Giant Gonzalez before that, and so on and so forth. So in 2006, after Kurt Angle, I don't know what was going on with The Undertaker, but anyways, bad match, 3 out of 10, but at least Great Khali did go over in a very massive way, in ways that, usually when Undertaker faces monsters, like a Great Khali, like a Giant Gonzalez, rather, like the $1 Million Corporation, like a Kamala, like so on and so forth, he usually beats them. But this time around, the Giant does not lose. He beats the Undertaker in such a fashion that made the Undertaker look like a complete bitch. 3 out of 10, and whatever. Then we get the main event. Rey Mysterio defends his World Heavyweight Championship against JBL, and this is the best match that Rey Mysterio had in his World Heavyweight Championship title reign. Anyways, it took a lot of convincing for Vince McMahon to be on board with Rey Mysterio as World Heavyweight Champion. Don't know why it took so much, because, you did all you can. You milked the ever-living shit out of Eddie Guerrero's death. You might as well put that belt on him. But anyways, fuck Vince McMahon. He's the one that cut the triple threat match for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 22 from 18 minutes to 9 minutes. Cut it in half. Vinny's revenge, and purposely go like 30 minutes in his match with Shawn Michaels. And then, he has Rey Mysterio. Sure, he wins the World Heavyweight Championship, but he's still going to get the last laugh. Vinny's revenge is by having Rey Mysterio lose to each and every single opponent he fought in the weeks leading up to Judgment Day. That's serious. He lost to Mark Henry. He lost to the Great Khali. He even lost to Finlay. Rey Mysterio lost to Finlay in the weeks leading up to this show. He lost. I'm okay with him losing the Great Khali and Mark Henry. Fine, sure, whatever the fuck. He lost to Finlay. Finlay. Fucking Finlay. Anyways, Rey Mysterio does beat JBL in a good match. Fun fact here, this is the third year in a row that JBL main evented Judgment Day. Kind of a weird fact. Kind of a weird Judgment Day fact, but yeah, 2004, 2005, and 2006, he main events Judgment Day, and he also loses at Judgment Day 3 years in a row. This is a fun match, the best match out of Rey Mysterio's horrible World Heavyweight Championship title reign. And there you go. Rey Mysterio gets the victory after a very weird 619. It's weird because he hits the 619, but when he goes for the West Coast pop, JBL, here he is standing. But then I think in his mind, he thought Rey Mysterio was going to go and do the springboard West Coast pop and do the Hurricanrana part. But when he saw Rey Mysterio was going to do a frog splash off of the top for Eddie Guerrero's sake, he instantly did a bump. So here he is standing. He takes the 619, he falls to his back, gets back up, and then he sees Rey Mysterio and then plops back to his back. Kind of a funny, weird spot, but 6 out of 10. Anyways, fuck Vince McMahon for making Rey Mysterio lose to fucking Finlay. Anyways, at least he got the W over JBL. Can't complain, I suppose. Anyways, that's Judgment Day. We have Rey Mysterio retaining the World Heavyweight Championship. Booker T becomes King Booker. Great Khali squashes The Undertaker in about 5 minutes and pins him with his foot. Mark Henry and Kurt Angle puts me to sleep. Jillian Hall has one of the worst performances I've ever fucking seen. Oh my god. What the fuck did they see in her? Why the fuck did Jillian Hall keep on getting, quality match? Why the fuck did they try getting quality matches out of Jillian Hall? I never understood. Why was she a Divas champion? I don't get it. Melina was all over this fucking show. You see her nice body like 5 times throughout this entire show. Eminem is no longer on SmackDown throughout. Also, this was JBL's last match for a long time. Forgot to mention that. But we also get a barn burn of a match between Benoit and Finlay. Anyways, that's Judgment Day. I give it a 5 out of 10. Not bad of a show. Slightly worse than Backlash. But anyways, I digress. And I'll catch you next time for when I talk about Vengeance. Actually, my bad. It's ECW's One Night Stand. There's a lot of shit I gotta get through in 2006. I got One Night Stand. I got Vengeance. And I'm also gonna squeeze in TNA's Slammiversary in there as well. I'm DanielRock08 for 2006 Year in Review. I'll catch you next time for One Night Stand. Dun dun dun. Bow bow. Dun, dun, dun. Let the bodies hit the floor. Bye bye. Bye bye.